Next up, we're going to have our welcome speech by our very own President, Brother Hussein Aziz. Before he comes up, a little bit of a background information about him. His great-grandfather had left India in the early 1800s for Oman. His grandfather was born in Oman and left for Zanzibar on a ship in the late 1800s. Afterwards left for the mainland of Tanzania to Pangani, where Brother Hussein Aziz's father was born, of which he then left for Ifakara in the 50s, where our president was born. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
My elders, brothers and sisters in Iman, Salamun Alaikum. Before I begin, can we all remember with one Surah Fatiha for all our forefathers who struggled mightily to give us a legacy that we are all so proud of. Al-Fatiha. I would like to start by thanking you all for coming here today, celebrating our heritage, a core component to our identity, having our youngsters, our future leaders, here with us to appreciate where our forefathers came from and the struggles they went through in search of a better life for themselves, their families, and their communities. Migration is a painful experience. The Times of India ran a story on the Khojas in January of 2018 and had the following to say about our forefathers and their migration from India. Apart from uprooting oneself, and in many cases with family members, from familiar habitats, it often lands them in strange, hostile territories. The brave surmount the odds and script-inspiring stories, while the faint-hearted fall by the side and are buried by the sands of time. How many of our elders, right here in our center, the brave hearts I call them, prior to coming to the US, were in the most remote of places, say within Tanzania, within Kenya, within Uganda, within the Middle East, within the Far East. Some did not even have electricity or running water, and they lived in those conditions for many years and yet persevered. One thing our forefathers always believed in was that while small in number, our strength was in our unity and in our organization skills. And no matter where they settled, amongst the first thing they did, and this is following the sunnah of our Prophet, was to have a communal location for worship and a center for the community to congregate. Example, Only Uncle. The amount of respect I have for him. With meager means when he came, the first thing he did is establish Mehfile Bibi Sakina, so that our people who are coming had a place to congregate. May I have a salawat for him, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'm hopeful today that with the help of our presenters and esteemed panelists, along with the artifacts that support the tremendous amount of research, that you see them on easels here, that has gone into tracing our ancestry, which you will all be privy to via the symposium, that we will all learn something new. We will take away with us something, even if small, which you are not aware of concerning our history. So where does the word Khoja come from? It's derived from a Persian word, Khoja. And Uncle Panjwani is right here. He can explain it more. It is a term of honor. The origin of Khoja community can be classified into two sections. One part comprising of the Kashmiri Hindus, while the second portion includes the Lohana Rajputs, a community belonging to Kashmir, Lahore, and Sindh, a caste of Indian Muslims converted from Hinduism to Islam in the 14th century by the Persian pir, or the religious leader or teacher Sadr al-Din, and adopted as members of the Nizari Ismailiya sect of the Shiites. This is why you hear, oh, our ancestry is from Ismailis. This is where it comes from. These were people famous for their trading abilities. This is part and parcel of who we are. We are traders. It is Mullah Qadir, a much revered figure in Khoja Shia history, who lived from 1842 to 1902 and is credited with converting Ismaili Shias to Khoja Shia Ithnashri. Mullah Qadir. History has it that it was Ayatollah Zainul Abidin Mazandarani who sent his India-born, Karbala-based disciple Mullah Qadir back to India in 1873 on the request of the philanthropist Haji Devjibai Jamal. I don't know, Muntazir, if he's related to you. We truly owe a great deal to Mullah Qadir for his work on the ground in India and the fact that we are here today as Khojas practicing our faith as Shia Ithnashri, followers of the 12 Imams after our Prophet. In India today, most Khojas live in Mumbai, Gujarat, Kutch, Rajasthan, Kathiawar, and the city of Hyderabad. In Pakistan, most live in Karachi and in Sindh provinces. This is very important for us to understand. Many Khojas have also migrated and settled over the centuries in other parts of Asia, as Hong Kong, Singapore, and to other regions outside of Asia, East Africa, Europe, North America, and the Caribbean. In the Middle East, there is a sizable community in the Gulf and scattered communities in Iran and Saudi Arabia. The presence of our community in Africa is extensive, and all are united under the banner of the Africa Federation, comprising of the Jamats of Tanzania mainland and Zanzibar, Kenya, Mozambique, Somalia, Zaire, Burundi, the island of Mauritius, Madagascar, and Reunion. Our communities can also be found in Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Botswana. When you see these panelists, these countries I've just mentioned, it's very interesting when I was talking to them and interviewing them. Every one of them, sort of their forefathers, touched these countries and these places. It's really fascinating. In the United Kingdom, the Khoja Shia Ithnashri settlers date back to the 40s. But the major migration took place after the dislocation of our community from Uganda in 1972, after being asked to leave the country by Idi Amin. Today in the UK, almost all major towns have well-established Jamats. In other parts of Europe, we have Jamats in Sweden, Switzerland, Belgium, France, and Portugal. In North America, we have Jamats in New York, Allentown, Orlando, Los Angeles, Minnesota, Toronto, Edmonton, Vancouver, Calgary, and Montreal. In almost all major cities of USA and Canada, you will find some Khoja families settled in the remotest of towns. Most, if not all, Jamats outside of the African subcontinent are members of the World Federation formed in 1976 and its head offices in the UK. And thanks, a lot of thanks to Mullah Asghar. We recently had the president of the World Federation, Safdar Jafar, visiting us. And during a session with members of my management team, we were going over our numbers across our Jamats around the world. He said something that stumped us, at least myself for sure. He said, we, the Khojas, make up around 150,000 people around the world, with the largest population being in Mumbai with 20,000, followed by Dar es Salaam, Toronto, and Stanmore in the UK. And when you look at the 150,000 number, in relation to the total number of Shia Muslims around the world, which is in the region of 200 million, we take the Khojas, make up just less than 1%, and yet take a step back and think of the impact we have made and continue to make. There is no question that we are amongst the most giving of all communities that make up the people of Shia Ithnashri faith, and indeed amongst the Muslims. We are also amongst the most welcoming. You will find when you visit our centers across the globe that we have in the congregation participants from communities outside of the Khoja diaspora, and we work hard at making sure they are part of everything we partake in. Every time, in every Jamaat, you will see this. And when it comes to responding to disasters, our forefathers have taught us, never hesitate, but step in. It is an honor, it is our responsibility. One only has to look at the community's response to the Yemen crisis, the recent floods in Pakistan, the terrible conditions in Burma, the plight of our Afghan communities. Everywhere, you'll see the Khoja community stepping up and not shying from our responsibility, just like Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam advises. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We all have come to learn more about our ancestry today. I'm hoping to learn more about the Khoja way, our culture, our values, the greatness of our forefathers from India, our achievements from a religious standpoint, headway we've made politically, progress in business, professionally, socially, including sports and so on. We have so much to be thankful for and to be proud of. Our forefathers have left us a legacy, and we have a sacred responsibility that we as a people, while realizing we are small in number in relation to other communities, that we protect our ways, for it is beautiful and it is unique. And we must ensure our future generation, the youngsters with us today, take on the mantle and pass it on. Events as today, taking place across multiple Jamats around the world, are extremely important. Once again, thank you for being here today, attending what will be a tremendous session in celebrating our beautiful heritage. Muhammadin wa